Hey guys, Jessie Shuley here, your local real estate agent in Central Florida. And as you can see, I have a new background. We are in our new home. So that is the reason for the delay and the gap in some of my videos. But we are settled here in our new house and ready to hop back into the video. So this video, we are going to be talking about a second home mortgage versus an investment mortgage. And when I say that, I don't mean from the standpoint of a mortgage broker. This is going to be from the standpoint of your real estate agent. What this means when you tell your real estate agent, I'm looking for a second home versus I'm looking for an investment home, and kind of some of the key differences that are going to help with finding the right property for you. Now, before we really get into it, I will go over just a couple differences between us. I should say, I'll go over a few differences between the two, second home and investment, from a mortgage standpoint, but these are standard. And it doesn't mean that's how it is all the time. So I highly recommend that you speak to a mortgage broker if you have any questions as far as financing, down payments, interest rates, how strict the pre-approval process is for both, because it can fluctuate. And if you have a really good mortgage broker, which I do have a couple, they can help come up with the best type of loan for you. So make sure you talk to a mortgage broker. Real estate agents are great, but that is not their bread and butter. So you need to talk to a mortgage broker. Okay. So let's get into it. I did a video before about some of the criteria you would be looking for when you want a second home versus an investment home. And this is kind of a play on that. So obviously, as I mentioned, a second home is a home that you stay in, and it can be used as an income generating property. But there are plenty of people who have second homes that they never rent out. They long-term, short-term, they never rent out for people at all. It's their additional home. They let family members use it. It's maybe a weekend house. That's a second home. An investment property, you are buying it because you're trying to make a profit on it. You are either renting it out for short-term rentals, or you're renting out for long-term rentals. Maybe you're even donating it to organizations and letting them use it and using a tax write-off for that. But it's, when you buy an investment home, it's really coming from a business perspective. And with second homes, there's more than likely and more often than not that there is some personal attachment and feelings involved with it. So a couple of the key differences from a mortgage standpoint: when you have an investment property, you will, again, this is average, you will almost always have to put 20% down. As you know, for just a traditional conventional loan, you can put down, usually most people put down like 5%, maybe up to 10. Same thing with the second home. It would just be like whatever you're qualified for, what works best for your financing, down payment, monthly mortgage, those types of things, but there's not really a minimum. So when it's an investment property, when you have to put a 20% down, you don't have to worry about PMI, right? And PMI is the interest that you pay for putting down a lower down payment. So it's basically mortgage insurance. So you don't have to worry about that when you are buying an investment property. So let's talk a little bit about what the two mean when you're telling your realtor what it is that you're looking for. If you tell your realtor, I am looking for a second home, I want to be able to come down here with my family and stay in it when we go to the parks, when we go to the beach, when we do things in the area, when we go on vacation. And I think I am probably gonna lease it when I'm not there, but I just don't know yet. Immediately, as your real estate agent, I know that there's gonna be personal attachment to this purchase. You care about what it looks like. You care about the condition of the home. You care about how it will fit your family's needs, and you will picture your family being there. So automatically, this becomes a more personal purchase for you. Because at the end of the day, when I hear second home, the primary objective is to find something for your family or for you and your friends, right? For you. And it can get a little confusing because from a financial standpoint, even if you know off the bat, I want to lease this out. I want to make money on it, but I am going to also stay there. Sometimes it's more of a gray area if you're going to do an investment mortgage or if you're going to do a second home mortgage. And there are a lot of rules and regulations for what constitutes being able to be a second home and what constitutes being able to be an investment home. You certainly don't want to falsify anything. You don't want to get in bad with the IRS. That's a big no-no, which is why it's so important to talk to a mortgage broker, because there are a lot of gray areas. But the bottom line is you can lease out a property that is a second home. It doesn't mean that just because you bought it as a second home, you're the only one that can stay there. You cannot generate $1 of revenue from it. That's not what that means at all. But as your real estate agent, when I hear second home, again, that's what I'm thinking of. Like, okay, this is more personal. I'm really going to focus on what you and your family want, while also considering things that from an investment standpoint, but that's more of the background, right? The focus is you and your family or your friends or what your personal needs are. And then the background is, okay, we should also be conscientious of the location, because if this is an investment property here in Orlando, you want to be close to the parks. You want to have a place you want to have parking. Parking is super important because most of the people that come here are on an airplane and they are going to be renting a vehicle. So you want to have some place to park, things like that. But they're not deal breakers, right? It's not a must-have because, again, this is your second home. Now, if you come to me and you say, I'm looking for an investment property, I might stay there, but this is going to be my income generating property. I want to make some money on it. I want to improve my credit score. I want to have this in my portfolio. In my mind, as your real estate agent, there is not an ounce of personal preference in this home, because you are thinking, you have your business cap on, you're thinking from an investor standpoint, and it might not be your aesthetic, it might not be your favorite style of home. You might prefer 2 stories and this is a 1 story. It doesn't matter because it's what is going to generate the most income. So I am thinking, things like location are huge. 2-story versus 1 story. Is it wheelchair accessible? Is it handicap accessible? Can senior citizens stay there? Because senior citizens, as we know, snowbirds come down and they stay for long periods of time. So from an investment standpoint, if you're not doing short-term rentals or you're open to doing 3 to 6 month rentals for these snowbirds, that is a great piece of income because, one, again, this is average. The senior citizens that come down for snowbird, they're not spending a ton of time at home, but they're also not throwing these crazy elaborate parties and trashing your home. They're just not. So you're going to think about it from that standpoint. What are the locations that are going to get me booked the most often? Am I in a safe neighborhood that people are going to want to stay here short-term or long-term? If I do have snowbirds coming, is it around areas where they can do things? Do I want to buy a home in a 55+ community where I'm really targeting snowbirds? Things like that are going to be the forefront. And then I don't want to say it doesn't matter if you like it or not, because at the end of the day, you probably should like it, but it really isn't a deciding factor because you are rarely, if ever, going to stay there. So in conclusion, while it's very important to have these conversations with your mortgage broker and figure out what kind of loan is going to be the best for you, for what you need and for what you're looking for, it is also important to be very transparent with your real estate agent and tell them exactly what you think the property is going to be used for, even if you're not 100% sure. Be like, I'm pretty sure I want this, but I might want to stay there. So I do think it's important for me to like the property, etc., etc. These things are all very important, and your real estate agent is going to work very closely with the mortgage broker there. That's why a lot of real estate agents have mortgage brokers that they refer, because they've worked with them before, they know how they work, and they've established good relationships with them. So again, if you have any questions on that, I do have some very fantastic mortgage brokers that I can have you speak to. But from a real estate perspective, second home versus investment properties are very different. The financing is very different for those types of loans. So it's very important that you have those conversations with your real estate agent so that they can help you figure out, okay, you're telling me you want an investment property, but you want a second home, or vice versa. So that's all I got for you guys today. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. And let's see what Shu can do for you. Until next time.